What's good, OGs? Today we've got creatively Anzy, Dark Knight and Nscope, and me, OG Otaku. And today we're going to be talking about WandaVision, the whole series, and yeah, it's open forum talk. I know everyone's got a lot to say, a lot to get off their chest. Um, First thing, how's everyone feeling after episode 9 and the finale? Good? Sad? Heartbroken? Distraught?
Um, hey gang, it's me, Dark Knight, but I don't know how to feel about it. I mean, it's a good show overall, and I like that there wasn't okay. I was looking forward to a really big bad. I was thought when I saw episode 8 and I saw Agatha, I was like, oh okay. A spoiler warning in case, but I was like, oh okay.
Oh no, don't worry. There will be a massive spoiler warning before in the video. I
Yeah.
mean, whatever the title for this video will be, if you didn't figure it out, spoiler warning. Yeah, go on.
But yeah, so there was no Mephisto, there was no Doctor Strange cameo. So in my head, I'm thinking that this is phase 3 after Endgame. It's gonna be about characters rather than the overall narrative. So we've all
Yeah,
been Wanda. Obviously, Wanda is a lot more powerful than what she's been portrayed as in the movies, and that's just like when you read the comics, Wanda is like she's a heavy hitter.
yeah. She's a heavy hitter. Go
Now
on.
that
And
sorry,
sorry, I was Nscope. You gonna say something?
Oh, well, I was just going to say, I definitely know what you mean about that building anticipation of like, oh man, someone huge is going to pop in because I mean, Paul Bettany made that mistake of being like, oh, there's a big cameo, like, coming, or like,
Yeah,
I got
yeah.
to work with an actor that I really wanted to work with, and it was like, oh,
Gassed
who could
himself
that
up
be?
so
Like,
bad.
could it be Michael Fassbender? Like, could it be Patrick Stewart? Like, who could, like, all the names getting thrown around.
yep.
And it was a cool scene at the end, don't get me wrong. Like, I actually really liked the ending, but the thing that the extra thing that gave me the impression of like, oh, we're gonna see someone else was so many people were popping in from different areas. Like you had Agent Wu from the second Ant-Man film with the little hand magic card trick as well, and he introduced himself, which is like such a subtle little nod to that world, which is really cool.
Yeah.
But people entering in from all little corners of the universe, like Monica Rambeau from the Captain Marvel side and everything. So like, in a way, it felt like kind of like, oh man, this is a bigger amalgamation of all these different stories than ever.
Yeah,
So like
yeah.
that ending, I know what you mean. It seemed like it was gonna feel bigger, but in a way, it remaining focused on those two central characters was a good thing in some respects because
The show
we'd
is
seen
called
them in the
WandaVision.
I mean that for sure, but we'd seen them in the sitcom environment for so long. Like nothing real was happening to them, or like very like little glimpses here and there. But no, I know what you mean. Like it was definitely like an emotional roller coaster in that sense. But I got to say I liked the ending and like what they actually went ahead and did.
Yeah, good. Anzy, how are you feeling?
I really liked it. I just really enjoyed I love superheroes and stuff like that. So it was really nice to see them in a setting, and I did actually like getting to know the two characters. Wanda's ability and how strong she was. It was phenomenal to see, and the explanation and the build up and so it was really interesting to see the growth of the two characters and just the little things that were getting dropped and how each episode basically ended on a cliffhanger. I was like, like they cut it off like
They did. They did. They had me hooked till next week.
Slowly. It was so like it was a bit frustrating because it was like every episode there was more questions than there was answers. It was like they just gave us more questions. Why does this happen? Why does and it was just
It's true. It is true.
Crazy, like we need more answers, but in the end it was worth it, but it was just like there's still a lot. I still feel like there was a lot to explore in general.
No, that's it. I agree. I think everyone is feeling that there was something more to come that we just didn't get. But you know what it is as well? It's the hype train. We end up doing it to ourselves. Like everyone starts shooting off mad, crazy speculations. And then nothing that they're gonna do really is gonna live up to our speculations of what could have been. You know what I mean? But I do think overall they handled it well, and they did give us a Wanda and Vision story, like a really good one. On note of the hype train, what would you say is the biggest, like, everyone heard of Theory as something that was going to happen, but what was the one you're most disappointed didn't happen? Like, go on, Nscope.
Oh.
Like, what was
Well,
something you were hoping would happen in WandaVision and it just never did?
so like the whole Quicksilver thing was really interesting, and like where they placed that in the series was, I think, again, like it felt like it was leading up to like, oh man,
Yeah,
there's some bigger introductions of new characters into the universe coming. But actually, in a way, I kind of feel like it might have been a disservice if they'd started leaning too far in that direction. But and it's great they did end on it being a kind of a Wanda and Vision focused story, because that's the point, right? But
yeah,
his placement in there and what that meant, it was really meta, because he essentially was he was the same idea as the Mandarin was in Iron Man 3, where like you kind of find out he's not quite brainwashed, he's a real dude that lives here, and he's under the influence of Agatha, and so you end up finding out like, oh, this is a complete red herring. Like, yes, we the audience know that guy is the Quicksilver in other capacities, and
yeah,
the whole
yeah,
X-Men line of films. But yeah, for me, like I did think like, oh man, so if they're telling us like that Quicksilver is somehow crossed over, we're gonna get Magneto, surely. Like that's what I wanted more than anything. So a little disappointed that didn't come, but actually, like again, like the ending.
it's understandable why.
Yeah, for sure, right? Especially
Um,
speculating on that actor comment.
yeah. Dark Knight, biggest thing you were hoping for that didn't go down.
I like what Nscope said about the X-Men crossover. I was really, because I did hear rumors about and the MCU acquiring some of the X-Men characters, but now it's literally just rumors. So when I saw Evan Peters, I was like, oh my gosh, it's happening. They're gonna do a crossover of X-Men, or we might get X-Men. So on that point, I fully agree with him. I'm like, oh,
Yeah,
it was just
it's
a
true.
plot point.
It
But
was
also,
it was the big one everyone was waiting for, to be honest. Because if that happened, it would have opened so many doors for everything else.
exactly.
Yeah. Anzy,
So, okay, go on.
sorry, and
Yeah, I'm just echoing what Dark Knight was saying when Evan. That I did feel like a lot of disappointment when I realized this wasn't a crossover, and the way because they were being really vague about it. And I thought, okay, maybe he is there, but she's not remembering him. And then when I think in the episode where she actually sees him riddled with bullet holes, and it's like, oh my god, is
yeah,
that him? Is that actually him? And she's like, you don't look like. And I think this was on episode 5 on a very special occasion when he arrives.
yeah,
And then the second episode, the Halloween one, and
yeah.
she's like,
Episode
oh,
6.
where's your accent? That sort of thing. He's like, where's your accent? And I was like, oh my god, are they gonna like actually talk about
Address this.
he looks
Yeah,
different? He's from different universe. Is that going to be? But it wasn't. It was just, oh, he's actually this person. And I did feel a lot of disappointment, because I just felt, oh man, I felt like they teased us with it, and it was never, it was just a tease, and that was it.
yeah.
Crossover.
I mean, it was a nice little fourth wall wink to the audience, like. But again, it just kind of added more wood to the fire of that hype train, only to have us sitting there at the end like, so they were just joking. Okay. Joking to the point that the character's name was Boner. Not even like the intro.
Marvel and Disney dropping a bold dick joke there.
Yeah, they've seen how far they can push you. It was interesting. I don't know. Does anyone have a favorite episode? Like the one episode you watched, and like that week you were like, oh my god, that last episode.
I mean, for me, it might be episode 4 when they brought in the recast Quicksilver, because it did start to set off the speculation at that point of like, oh, okay, so like this is an interesting direction that things could be moving in and everything. And like each ending, like that was my least favorite bit of the show, was that the ending came like 10 minutes before the timer, because those credits seemed to like just go on forever. So like you were never quite anticipating it, but like the lead up to that ending was really cool, because they used the whole sitcom aspect with them arguing, the credits rolling over, trying to Wanda trying to kind of manipulate the scene. Like that's when you started to really glimpse stuff like kind of coming apart in a way.
And I remember that episode was 5 minutes longer than any episode we had before. And I remember saying, wow, what can they do with 5 minutes? And that extra 5 minutes was literally, as you said, the credits rolling and them having that argument, what set off so much more.
Yeah, no, I think that might take it for me. Because that's I guess when we also got our first glimpse into the real world, I think was that episode, and we got to meet our other characters.
It's true. It was We Interrupt This Program, and it's when we first got to see like the sword agents outside of the Hex and what was going on in that world. Anzy, favorite episode?
I think I have two. Breaking the Fourth Wall. That's when you get to see Monica having because they were hinting at maybe because her DNA is different and stuff like that if she keeps entering the thing. Then you actually get to see her powers. It's a tease of her powers, because you don't really she's not fully formed with her powers, but I think I could forgive them for that. But it was like the first look at her, when her eyes turned blue and she just saw like the superhero pose, and I'm like, ooh, I was really excited. I was like, oh my god, I can't wait for more of this. Obviously it is still WandaVision, so it was centered on them, but I did like that I would have liked more. I'm not gonna lie, I would have liked more of Monica and just her power and her abilities, but at the same time I wouldn't mind it focusing on her a bit more, maybe as her own spin-off or something like that. I don't know, I'm in two minds. They have given her more action in WandaVision, but then it is WandaVision, or maybe not. And then the second last episode where you're seeing, in the flashbacks where
episode 8.
And you see, the slowly building of Wanda and Vision's, their initial relationship. And he says that like lovely quote where it's, what is grief if not love preserving? I just my sister reminded that 3 times. It was such a beautiful thing for him to say, and I could see then like that's when they're first starting to like have their sort of relationship and things like that, when he's visiting her, and he's very frank and honest, and the human almost side of him is coming out a bit more. He's less machine, more of a
it's what we got to see from the show, like a deeper side to the characters, rather than them just being like the heavy guns on the Avengers team. Dark Knight, you got a favorite episode?
I do, but continuing from Anzy's point, it's what I like. I like how well they've written the Vision, because he's got the entire internet, but he's got the innocence of a 6-month-old. So he sees things very plainly and very simply, with a lot of knowledge behind it. So when he said that line where what is love but grief, what is grief but love preserving, it's something that over time, as a human being, over time, you don't really come to appreciate it. You don't really appreciate. You've gathered a lot of wisdom, but you've also got that cynical side that comes with living a long life. When you're 5, things are, you're a lot happier. Things are a lot easier because life is simpler. But when you're like, exactly, when you get like 25, 30, like heavens forbid you get to like 70, then it's like you got all this like this life that's carrying on your back, and it's like, but with that life, there's also a lot of wisdom. But I think that's how well they've written Vision, where he's got that he's got that that intelligence, he's got all of the internet in his head, but he still has that innocence. I like how well they've written him, because I just want to try, like, okay, sidebar, I also want to normalize when someone hears new information, your stance should change. Like, I thought the White Vision was going to be like some next like big bad that's going to have a big fight. Then Vision just says one line, and then suddenly they're like,
What's it?
Elaborate. I love that.
Nice elaboration.
Yeah, I request elaboration. Everyone was like, elaboration? Okay.
Yeah, we didn't know shit was going to get elaborated on. Okay.
I thought you was just going to say, nah, let's go.
Exactly, but that's what I'm talking about. You see, like that fact where it's like that just needs to be normalized in everyone. Where it's like when someone just presents you with some information, you shut up and you elaborate. you just like go there and you just like you think it over. And I think that was a nice what's the best way?
Yeah, it was
like
a twist.
It was a plot twist because
It
we're
was,
all
it was.
expecting like
Fight.
a big ass fight, but then instead we got like a thinking.
Yeah, a thinking debate. What should be for Vision, because that's what he's about. He's about that mind.
Exactly. But for the record, my
wonder,
favorite
though.
episode was episode 9 because that's when all my questions were answered.
Fair enough. I was gonna say my favorite episode. Sorry, just my favorite episode is episode 7. Basically breaking the fourth wall because it had the best jam to come out of 2021 so far. What was Agatha all along? Like, honestly, I'm waiting for the remix. I want Skepta, I want JME to get on this in the studio. Like, I need that remix. Like, it's a banger. Like, it was number 1 on iTunes or something after that. I was just like, yeah, everyone knows that is the jam. Right?
The remixes were real with that tune, bro.
Yeah, but yeah, that song, that's my favorite episode 7. But yeah, sorry, Dad. Go on, continue.
But yeah, that's I just wanted to say, but that is something that just should be normalized. Just that having that, just
that ability
to new information. Just think, before you open your mouth.
Think on it.
Exactly.
I wonder though where like the way that conversation ended as well. Like, and it seemed like the white Vision sort of came to consciousness of like, oh shit, like I'm as equally Vision as this guy is, and like he proclaims he is Vision. And where does he go, man? Like, he seemed like he had some shit to do.
Yeah, I was expecting him to come back and back to be. Like,
well, my take on it was like it was a moment of like he was like, I am Vision and I need to be somewhere. Like, it's like, I don't know, that's kind of how I bought into that moment, and I don't know, gives some intrigue of like, okay, because he's I guess going to come back in some capacity. And it's a sweet ending when they, when the Vision that Wanda has created, when he's saying,
what am I?
Fuck, I can't quite get the quote. He says,
I've been a voice with no body, a body but not human, and now a memory made real. What will I be next? That one. Yeah.
Yeah. And
that's
so
what I'm saying.
We should have
the basketball season, man.
No, that's it. He says we've said goodbye before, so it stands to reason. And then she says that we'll say hello again.
Yeah,
and it was
I love
that.
I really, really, really love that line. I've actually I said it to myself a few days ago actually, because it just held so much strength to me, especially in dealing with loss. And that's the main arc of this whole thing, is dealing with loss and Wanda's loss, and how powerful something like loss and love can be, that she is chaos magic. Like, something so, she was so hurt that it's just her magic just exploded and she created something. And I really it was a double-edged sword when we were discussing the chaos magic, because my sister was like, she needs more explanation. But some things are so painful but also so extreme that it just causes, it's like the beginning of the universe almost. It just exploded into existence,
It's
and
true.
you can't really recreate that. So
all the people that were put under were like, they all had the same kind of way to say how they felt underneath, but no one had the exact same description of how they were feeling, because it's something that can't necessarily be put into definitive words to explain.
Replicated, like, I don't think Wanda could do that again, almost, unless it was like to create something like that again. It's just there's no steps to it where you don't have to enchant the spell, blah blah blah. It was just chaos, and chaos is why it was created.
I don't know about that.
You don't think so?
I don't know. I say I don't know. I don't know about that because it feels like they're trying to give Wanda a happy ending. Because now that we've got the other Vision on the loose, technically speaking, it doesn't cheapen his sacrifice. Well, not his sacrifice. Thanos's
Yeah,
like Thanos's badassery in Infinity War. So
It's not
I'm
Vision.
thinking,
It's like a clone. Is a clone you? Like if you clone yourself,
but that's the entire thought experiment, isn't it? That's thought experiment is they're both equally Vision. Wanda's memories of Vision and the Vision that was put together by Hayward are equally Vision, but the memories is what's different.
Exactly.
like
And that's
usually
the
both
beauty of
together would
Wanda.
make a whole. Innit?
Do you know,
So-
like what? Just to touch on Hayward's character for a minute, I have to say, like he was probably my least favorite character. But at the beginning, when he was first introduced, like there was kind of a little bit of intrigue of like, okay, so this guy's a good guy. Seems like a bit of a a bit of a hard edge, like maybe trying to do the right thing, but in the wrong way. And like so, at first, there was that kind of impression, right? And then as you went on, it's like, okay, this guy might be up to some shit, and he might be doing it subtly in some clever way. But by the end, he was kind of just a dick dastardly villain shooting kids. Like, you know what I mean?
He was. That's true.
Like he
There
had
was-
probably, you could almost say he had like the single most like dramatic change in terms of like like that character arc of like at the beginning it's like I'm the director of this prestigious like security service kind of thing, like, and then
he went downhill. He didn't go up.
yeah,
Like
he went downhill.
only to get arrested at the end. Yeah, I'm pretty sure no one out there's like, that Hayward guy, favorite character
Yeah.
on WandaVision.
Hayward, man, the Hayward. No, but it made me laugh. I was just kind of like this. Yeah, because I had other expectations. I was like, this guy. I mean, he could show up again, I guess. Like, he's director of Sword, right? Like, that's like he's the Nick Fury of Sword. Like, so. But yeah.
I guess he was.
I don't know.
After he tried to start shooting kids, yeah.
Yeah, no, exactly. Yeah, that's where it all went wrong. Or maybe a few steps.
I wasn't thinking that. I wasn't, because at the end of Spider-Man, the post-credit scene, you see Nick Fury in space. So I just assumed that Nick Fury was being Nick Fury with Sword, like how he was with Shield. So when they introduced Hayward, I was like, it's either this guy is dead or he does something really bad to go away for a long time. So I, for one, wasn't too surprised with the path they took, because it wouldn't make sense. Because it's like the Star Wars kind of issue where it's like, how do you put more content into a idea when you've given the ending already?
Yeah.
So I was like, what's Hayward gonna do to do some madness to get him to like give up his post and give it to Nick Fury? Because it's, from a movie standpoint, it's very difficult to establish another character on the same footing as an established character like Nick Fury and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
That's true. Like, I never put two together. Nick Fury was looking for his slippers in space, so he must be with Sword, and there's no way this Hayward guy is gonna rank higher than Nick Fury.
Yeah, you get what I'm saying, yeah.
But like he does refer to it in like a conversation early on with Monica Rambeau. Like he's the one who says, I think, early on, like, okay, like you're grounded, but I've got a mission for you, like, come check this thing out. So like there's some extraterrestrial thing. I mean, yeah, like he was obviously not going to be an important character with the way they like kind of took him, but I guess it was just it had to fit in with the tone of those first few episodes where it's like, yeah, we're giving you a mystery here, and it's like we weren't sure where the focus was necessarily going to draw to, but like I never got the impression like, oh yeah, this guy's going to be like, we're all going to be paying attention to this guy, like, but I just thought like tonally the way they shifted, like, oh yeah, this guy is a bit interesting at first, to be like, oh wait,
he went from being smart and conniving to just
a bad guy, like, yeah.
Fair enough. Well, we all agreed, it seems, that Hayward is not a great character, but he's everyone's favorite.
He had a service to fill in the role. Like that was in the
I guess there's got to be someone.
Yeah.
Because I don't know, Agnes. Yeah, Agnes. I guess she is the main villain. She was the big bad, but it's a bit hard to hate her in a
I
way
don't
because
know
she got
about
so
that.
much fans, bro. Like,
Hmm. I
She was
don't.
crazy.
I don't
I think they could have
Agatha was
seeded
the
it a
big bad.
little earlier, but yeah, no, I liked Agnes's introduction a lot, like because that's a character that comes from the era of Stan Lee and Jack Kirby, so like that I think
Yeah.
they are the creator of that particular character, and so like Marvel, like reviving like an old witch from way back in the '60s is like that's a cool
Yeah, cool reference.
little
Something
nod.
to bring back. That's what the MCU has been doing. They've been bringing characters and stuff into it, like Guardians of the Galaxy, the Eternals, Shang-Chi. These people have been lost to comic history. You know what I mean? And now they're just like, nah. Everyone knows about like Spider-Man, Avengers, and stuff. We've done that. Let's bring back the guys that people forgot about and just reinvent them so that they can go strong for the next generation. And yeah, it's good.
Yeah, but I think the 22 movies that they've done, they've created such, especially in the MCU, they've created such a rich story, like a rich world that they can literally make a WandaVision.
Yeah.
And if you get all the references, you're enjoying it that little bit more, but it's a standalone thing. So hat off to the MCU for doing that.
I do wonder though, like, and I got some friends that I'm hoping to run into their impressions on the show because they're not as like me. Me and Otaku have been seeing the films for like I think pretty much after Avengers we were like, oh yeah, no, we should carry on following this plot, and like we started watching from Iron Man 3. So like that's for like the last 8 years pretty much. But and like we're deeply invested in the plot and all that, and like I mean I'm sure everyone speaking today is, but it's crazy that you can like at this point you can pop into the universe with a completely new show like that. And I really wonder like what kind of impression it gives at that like if it holds up and everything. Like I'm sure it does because it's
It'd be
an interesting
interesting from the perspective of someone who hasn't seen like Infinity War and Endgame, who just like started on WandaVision, and to see how they took it, because it is one of them. Like you said, they created a great world, and it's one of them you can pop in anywhere. So you'll watch one film and think to yourself, "Rah, that was kind of good. Let me watch these other films, these other TV shows, and see if they're as good as this one."
Yo,
yeah.
What I would do to be in that position right now, have 10 years of backlog of movies to watch for the first time. That's a nice thought.
Of MCU movies,
yeah.
And what's crazy?
I like that we've had the hysteria of it's like the Harry Potters, every year was like, oh my god, you dress up as well. I dressed up. You queue up for the book, and it was like almost the whole world came to a standstill at 1 minute past midnight because we were waiting for this book, and people were like speed reading it, and other people. You get to talk about it, and then the memes afterwards. For goodness sakes, look at Vishon. You get to like enjoy all of that stuff. I like that as it was going, we were sort of, at every stage we were involved, we were talking about this. It does, sometimes I feel like it feels nice to think, oh, I have all these films to watch, but actually it's nicer when you're enjoying it. I mean, a group of us, we rented out the cinema for the, and we went to go see Black Panther together. And afterwards, the discussion was insane. Everyone was just like, it was nice to be sharing it with people at the time it was happening, in real time. So I think
that is part of it.
And that's a lot of part of the experience. And even that moment with the hammer when Captain America first, that scene still chills me. In the cinema, everyone started applauding. We all just started applauding because we knew what it meant. And so if you're sitting at home by yourself watching it for the first time, you won't know that feeling.
No, that's true.
Grip in the cinema where people are just like, is Captain America about to die? Because then he's just like buckling. Thanos is active, and then he's still, fixing himself up to go and fight him again. It's just like, when will this man? He will never quit. And to be able to share that with other people in the cinema, that is one of the reasons why I love to go to cinema, because it's a shared experience of something
that's true. But now with Disney Plus shows, I think they're looking at the water cooler talks, whereas like you can't go to cinemas no more, really.
Exactly.
hopefully soon come. But yeah. So at least
I
with these
thought watch
shows,
parties are a thing now because
yeah.
people still want that cinema. We want to be talking about it like right afterwards, like, oh my god, did you see this? Or
Or while it's happening, yeah.
yeah, it's just, it feels better when there is a group to be able to talk to about it. As you've seen it, when the information is still very fresh. Because trying to recount like 20 films or something, that's a lot. But after you've just seen it, your information is fresh. You're comparing comic book knowledge to the film knowledge, and you're able to discuss it. Like
And
if we'd had this conversation in a year, how much would we have remembered? Depending on
true,
how.
not a lot. But you know what? On that note, I will be saying I have to watch WandaVision again. I want to set aside the day and I'm just going to watch it all together one straight run because I feel it's gonna be a lot more seen. Like I'm gonna catch a lot more things and get it a lot more watching it consistently as one, rather than waiting every week and being like, oh yeah, what happened last week?
I'm sure the viewing experience will definitely be affected. Like, yeah, it will definitely, I mean, I think I'll definitely try the same thing, right? It'll be like a 3-hour, 4-hour movie almost.
I mean, because I ain't calculated the runtime, but on average, every episode is like 30 minutes, really, 30 to 40 minutes. So it's not like an hour episode where I'm gonna be sitting there for 9 hours now. You know what I mean? Like,
Sure.
But yeah, it will be a good watch just all the way through from the beginning, just to see how it all sets up. Were you aware?
Just to add quickly to what Annabelle said, I completely agree about the whole. It is nuts to think like they could have stopped at Endgame and been like, cool, that's the Marvel universe in cinema. There you are. There's 20 films to enjoy. It would have been like, cool, that's a really cool tapestry of Marvel. Like, great. Like we can watch this forever. Like but like, and it's going to be crazy. Like in years, showing that to like our kids or whatever, and being like, oh yeah, look at all these great films. They all interconnect and everything. But you'll never be able to convey what it's been like watching them over the years.
Yeah,
Being like, oh no, we were. Like I remember in Captain America 2 when they like name dropped Stephen Strange and it was crazy.
I mean,
and we had no scope then of how big it was going to get, kind of thing.
Exactly.
Will it ever stop? I mean, now they're breaking out into TV and streaming. Now we've got episodes of things rather than just cinema movies. So, like, I don't know. Like, we could have kids on Phase 7 telling them, oh, I still remember when Tony Stark rolled up and said, I am Iron Man. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah. And it would be nuts how often we're now going to get to pop into the universe, because it used to be like a couple times a year or something, and it would and it was exciting then and stuff. But in a way that kind of made me think like, it makes sense in a way that they're not doing the really big reveals, with the first Disney Plus show, because we're going to be revisiting the universe so often that we'll see development, throughout 10 releases this year, like. Something's going to happen, right? That's pretty big.
Yeah, I mean, WandaVision was just the tip of the iceberg for what's coming for 2021. Really. I was gonna say, were you aware that you were meant to get a 10th episode, WandaVision?
Really?
But unfortunately, due to the global situation and everything, it's a bit hard to get everyone in the same place to do these things. So there was actually a deleted scene that was set up where, was it Mr. Crunchy, the rabbit, Agatha's rabbit? They had a whole scene.
Yeah, I've heard about this. Yeah,
they had a whole scene that they done where it was meant to be like Monica, Wiccan, Speed, like everyone down in the basement, fighting this demon bunny rabbit that Agnes is familiar. But because they couldn't get everyone at the same place at the same time, they couldn't pull it off properly, and they just cut it. And that was something that was meant to be building up, and that would have gone to the 10th episode and given us a little more of like Monica's powers, the kids' powers, Darcy was one. Like, I remember thinking, "Rah, where's Darcy?" In the whole last episode, she came in, smacked man with a car, and then ducked off. And then at the end of the episode, they were like, "Oh, what happened to Darcy?" She said, "Yeah, nah, don't deal with 5-0," and ducked out. And I was like, "Okay," but it was literally because they couldn't get the actress who plays her, name's escaping me right now, but they couldn't get her in. to do it. Same as Doctor Strange. You know, of course, Marvel want Doctor Strange to be at the end of the WandaVision series at the post-credit scene. But Benedict Cumberbatch was in whatever country he lives in at the moment, and he couldn't travel to get there to film that. So they just had to give us that little musical sting at the end of that post-credit scene.
Yeah, no, it makes sense. You know, these things happen on sets, and they have to, and the script writers. I'll give it to the script writers. They have to make do what they have.
And in all honesty, given the situation, I think they pulled it off.
Yeah.
But I did hear that and thought to myself, that's why maybe I'm feeling like, you know, that last episode was good, don't get me wrong, but like there was just something I was waiting on. And I feel like seeing Monica and the boys doing combo moves on the Demon Bunny thing would have been it. Because at least at that point, like I would have seen Monica pull off some powers. Like I didn't really see her shoot no lightning bolts or nothing. You know, I seen her Ultra Instinct some bullets and like, you know, hold a punch and stuff, but I didn't really see her, you know, do nothing big, no big moves or nothing like that.
I actually preferred that. I preferred that they show us the origins of Monica, but then they give her her own set piece in another film, rather than just piggybacking off WandaVision, because WandaVision was very much about WandaVision and Wanda's grief. So I'd rather they stick to that premise and then give Monica her time in the light, like give her a genuine spotlight in her full badass mode.
Yeah.
We can appreciate her.
No, that's true. I mean, at least now we got them to finally call her the Scarlet Witch and give her like a sick costume. Like she's not just rocking up in like, I don't know, red Matrix.
Old trainers, you know. Wow.
I love her outfit. I just want to say that I think that her outfit was so cool, and she looked and the way her crown, it was I just was like, yes.
The costume is very much modernized, because when I remember the costume in the comics, I'm like, there's a lot more skin in that costume.
Yeah. The Halloween Spooktacular episode, when her and Vision wearing their old school comic accurate costumes and same as Pietro in it. And I was like, oh wow, jokes. Imagine if she was running around the MCU in these tights and stuff. Thanos wouldn't take her seriously.
That's very true. But
but nah, they got the costume on point. I saw it, I was like, yeah, the cosplayers are gonna go mad for this one. Like,
yeah, they modernized the costume. They made it.
That's what I'm saying. The cosplay for Wanda's new costume, I really like it. I was like, when I saw let me think about this. Do I want to cosplay Wanda right now? So I thought they did well on that part.
What is everyone's, let's say you get one big prediction that could come through, something that could spin off from WandaVision. Like what would you want to happen? Like personally, I've made a Blade connection and I want this to go down because I know Blade's coming. I know it's at the end.
Yeah. We never come.
But
you think what? Really?
No, because now they're getting all into like basically they're talking about the Book of the Damned and all this like spiritual magic stuff, and now we know there was meant to be like a demon, like an actual summoned demon. So after all of this, you know, like vampires are just around the corner. So the sooner we get into all this like evil, occult, dark creature stuff, the sooner we get vampires, the sooner Blade can come through and show man what time it is. You know what I'm saying?
I like the idea, but I think the application is going to be slightly different because they're not doing like occult with Blade, because you know Mobius is coming out. Mobius is coming out, and Mobius is a big vampire that Blade is always dealing with on a daily basis.
Morbius.
Yeah. And they've also linked him to the MCU as well, because I thought that it was
that one. I thought was it's Sony in it with Tom Hardy, Venom, and everything. But again, we don't know
as well.
We don't know how this multiverse of madness thing's gonna go down.
Exactly.
So, what their deal is. Yeah, you're right. You're 100% right.
When I saw that, I was like, because at the end of the trailer for Mobius, you see what's his name, the Batman, old school Batman.
Yeah, Vulture.
You see him in the trailer, so I was like, oh, so they're connecting. That means Blade there's gonna be connection. I thought that might be the connection for Blade, where it's Mobius. But Yeah, I think my big prediction would be. Let me think. Actually, let me think about that after.
All right, go on. Nscope, come on. I know you got something.
Do you know what? I'm just thinking about that Blade one that you've mentioned now. That's
Oh, see,
interesting.
I piqued your interest
I-
now, innit?
Yeah, no, it's true. It's true. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
Because man, Blade fitting into all of this is a crazy sort of thing to think about. Like, just because it seems. I was thinking, purely vampires. That
Yeah.
represents a whole new corner. But no, it does tie into what we kind of started to see in.
It's the Book of the
They've
Damned. It's got all
yeah.
demons and stuff in it. Like, vampires, like, just one shot
what
off.
what they'd shown us already in terms of the magic side of the Marvel universe, it kind of did seem like, oh, it's sorcerers that seem in this particular way, but like actually now we've seen a little bit more magic that's like
Yeah.
Wanda's magic kind of seems like a form of like wild magic, like the Scarlet Witch being stronger than Sorcerer Supreme. Like I kind of took that to mean like
That was big talk as well.
she has like untrained raw power that's like
Yeah.
that it's kind of it excels to these heights that the Sorcerer Supreme can't quite even reach, and but in something of a different way. So like I know what you mean about it sort of maybe tying into Blade in the future, because it could just show us another side of the coin in like in terms of what the magic side of Marvel looks like. And
There's
it
many
feels like that will be the big arc for this whole phase, I guess, and tying in with the multiverse, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
Anzy, you got any big predictions or anything you want to spin off from this WandaVision?
I mean, I don't know. I feel like I don't know about any predictions now because I'm just hooked on Blade. And
All right, yeah, that's fine. Everyone just trust Blade. Yeah.
I don't think about that, but I've loved. I mean, I'm Wesley Snipes old school with Blade, but I do like Mahershala Ali for this new Blade, and I like. I've always loved Blade fighting style. I guess I've always loved vampires and him being a daywalker and stuff like that. And I recently rewatched it late last year, and I was like,
Oh,
no, I really love this film. We have it on
Yeah.
DVD, so and I just can't wait till he actually gets introduced. I don't know how they will cross that over though with Wanda if we're thinking magic, but he's more
Yeah.
vampire. So I don't know, but I am excited for that. But I'm not
Yeah.
sure
No.
crossover.
And that's
And
going to be a feature as well, which will be interesting because
Yeah, like a whole movie. Like
it seems almost like a kind of thing you could do as a series, like similar to the Marvel Netflix series. I mean, I know we're not in that territory
Yeah.
anymore, but yeah, it's going to be interesting seeing another feature.
On the note of the Marvel Netflix series, Mahershala Ali as Cottonmouth and Luke Cage was like the best thing to come out of that. Like as a villain, he was great. And I was like, spoilers for Luke Cage if you ain't seen it. But yeah, when they got rid of him, I thought that was a really silly move. Like he was a screen grabbing, powerful villain.
Yeah.
Like spoilers for Black Panther, Killmonger. Like I don't know why are villains like Hayward still alive? Dead. Like this is the thing I don't get about Marvel.
but it's a budget thing as well. You have to remember getting bigger actors to appear on a show. It's also a costly thing. So
Hayward comes cheap.
but like Oscar winner Mahershala Ali, he probably is commanding a lot of money. So it's just like, you know what?
True. One thing before we end that I do need to talk about is what I think is one of the greatest things to come after WandaVision is Vishon. Now, if you don't know about Vishon,
oh man,
you need to Google it. Yeah, go to Twitter, go to your social media outlet, search Vishon, Vishawn. I saw one line that was like, "Vibranium comes from Wakanda," so that makes Vision black, and I was done.
I was finished. I absolutely memes, and he's in the polo net with the gold. I live for those memes. I actually live for all of those memes. I'm here for them. And
the polo shirt and the gold chain is killing me.
stop
The
it.
do-rag.
And thing about like enjoying that sort of thing now that we're talking about it and it goes to my point earlier that I was saying that it's nice, sharing all those memes. Meme quality is just top tier right now.
It is. It's being part of the wave while it's happening and just seeing it there. But Vishon is like great. Like there's been like again, like I've been saying, Vision had bars this season. Yeah, he's a deep guy. So this Vishon persona, it's got bars too.
It's perfect. Perfect. It's so funny. And I absolutely love Sean.
If they do multiverse, I need a multiverse version of Vishon, basically.
100.
It's just so good. And I've even seen some quick cosplays of Vishon, and I'm just like, how do people have this much time on their hands right now?
You're ready, man.
It's the best thing ever. And I'm just like, I'm loving Vishon.
The next Comic Con to go down, the second they open up the convention center, Vishon is definitely top tier cosplay.
100%.
So good.
Yeah, there's a lot to go on, but it's been great watching WandaVision. Overall, it was an enjoyable process. Can't say I wasn't feeling like I needed a little bit more, but you know what? As a Marvel fan, I'm greedy. I'm not gonna lie. I just want all of it. They just should have put in X-Men, Fantastic Four, Blade. Like I should have seen all the man running through WandaVision, like just being characters in town. Yeah, like what was her neighbor with the afro? He was always cutting the hedges. Him, you should have been Blade. Like it should have been like, oh, actually, this guy's gonna go on to be Blade. It's like,
for a split second, when you were like, "I've made a Blade connection," I thought you were gonna reference that guy.
No.
I was gonna be like, "Whoa, that's a jump."
Well, guys, thank you so much for coming and having this chat today. It's been great. I'm feeling like a weight is lifted off my chest because I had all these WandaVision like stuff I needed to talk about, Vishon, all this stuff. But
that Blade connection alone, I bet you were pacing about, losing sleep.
Listen, 2021, I said it. But again, I'd like to thank creatively Anzy, Dark Knight, and Nscope for coming through on this chat. Shout out to Melanin Gamers. Please check them out on YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, all your social media platforms. And look forward to more content coming from OG Otaku on YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, and all other platforms. As always, keep it OG Otaku.